Saturday night soccer just outside the Queen City, Charlotte Independence and Toronto FC2. We welcome you to the USL along with my partner George Metellus. I'm Ken Levicka. Charlotte coming off of a 4-1 dominating victory over the East top of the table Cincinnati last weekend. Meanwhile, Toronto FC2 still looking for its first victory of the 2018 campaign. Should be a good one tonight as Charlotte went top of the table now to bottom of the table. Toronto with a confidence-boosting 5-4 loss at Atlanta on Wednesday. 4 goals in defeat. But George, let's start with Charlotte. They did not score a single goal in the month of April. They blow up for 4 against Cincy.
And what a way to end a 5-game winless slide than to score 4 against FC Cincinnati, one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. If they can continue that momentum, continue that confidence, and play the ball into space, they can get a victory against Toronto.
As far as Toronto FC2 is concerned, we mentioned the 4 tallies in the loss at Atlanta. 2 of those goals from Luca Uccello, the former Canada under-20. He was spectacular in defeat. Yeah,
what a wild game that was. They were down 3-1 at one point, Toronto FC2, and they were able to come back. They didn't get the victory, but still showed a lot of confidence and a lot of heart in coming back. If they can get that finishing and improve their defending a little bit, they'll give Charlotte some big problems in this game.
Charlotte has been led by the Colombian Jorge Herrera all season long. He is one of the prolific goal scorers in the Eastern Conference. One off the pace. He had 2 assists against Cincinnati, getting it done scoring, but also delivering.
Yeah, it's very important when you wear that number 10 on your back, especially if you come from South America and Colombia. You have to be a great playmaker, but he can also finish his chances as well. If he plays well, Toronto is in big trouble.
Charlotte looking to keep pace in the Eastern Conference. Toronto looking for that first win of the year. It's Charlotte Independence, Toronto FC2. You're watching the USL.
I don't have my wallet, so.
Perfect. You can send a digital payment.
I don't have one of those payment apps.
Perfect. You have a US-based bank account, right?
I have Wells Fargo.
Perfect. Then you should have Zelle.
Perfect.
Perfect.
The #1 mobile banking app just got better.
Does your coach use Zelle too?
Of course.
Another way we're building better every day.
The Sportsplex at Matthews. Matthews, North Carolina, just southeast of Charlotte. It is Charlotte Independence playing host to Toronto FC2. This is a match that was supposed to be played north of the border at BMO Field in Toronto. However, need to recuperate that field. Has had a lot of traffic recently, so they moved this midweek to Charlotte. Here's the starting 11 for Charlotte Independence. This is a squad that had a 4-1 victory over Cincinnati last time out, and they stick with that 4-4-2 that was so successful for them.
Yeah, if the formation works and you're able to get 4 goals against one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, stick with that formation. Herrera up top, he's probably going to drop back a little bit deeper in behind Eamon Zayed, but Herrera is the playmaker right there. Zayed had a goal as well in that game against Cincinnati. So look out for those two up top. How they work together will be important.
Toronto FC 2 will look like this tonight. Ayo Akinola up top. He was really a track star against Atlanta. He was making things happen, had an assist, and he really showed out in that 5-4 defeat.
He sure did. He's a player up top. When you are by yourself at the top of a 4-2-3-1, you need to have a lot of pace, and you have to be able to finish. He was able to get a goal against Atlanta, and Uccello in that deep playmaking role in the midfield will be important as well.
Gianluca Catalano, goalkeeper for Toronto FC. 2 weeks ago, he turned 18.
Wow.
He is getting the start tonight, his second consecutive start. That's because Angelo Cavalluzzo lost with a ruptured Achilles suffered in the 1-0 defeat against Penn FC just a week and a half ago. So youth between the pipes tonight for Toronto FC 2. With George Metellus, I'm Ken LaVicka. Glad you're joining us for some USL action. Charlotte comes in at 3-3-2 on the season, 11 points in the table. That's 10th in the Eastern Conference, but they are right in the thick of a grouping of teams that is still in very good shape to, as we get into the summer months, keep pace with Cincinnati. Charlotte, that impressive victory over Cincinnati just a week ago. Toronto FC 2, they have yet to win this season. 0-7-2, just 2 points in the table. They are 16th and last in the Eastern Conference. But again, coming off of a 5-4 loss, the game winner, Atlanta 2, scoring that with 10 minutes left to go in the game. You look at that, and yes, it's disappointing, it's deflating, but after that offensive outburst, you see that you can find the back of the net. You see that you can put up some offense, and that's got to be a confidence booster for you.
Oh, absolutely. A definite confidence booster for Toronto FC 2. And how it will translate into this game, we are about to find out. But if you look at Toronto's record and you say 0 wins, you think, if you're a Charlotte fan, you think, all right, this might be easy. It's not going to be easy. Toronto is a team that can score goals. We saw it as evidenced by that game against Atlanta. Charlotte's defense is going to have to be very strong, very tight, very organized to keep a clean sheet against this Toronto FC team who is feeling confident after the 4 goals against Atlanta.
We are underway at Sportsplex at Matthews. Toronto FC 2 in their road white shirt. Charlotte Independence in the home blues. Toronto FC 2 has played 3 matches in the month of May. 0 points in the table to show for it. Charlotte Independence, we've discussed that win over Cincinnati last week. And here's a potential opportunity for Charlotte, and it's pushed to the middle for Herrera, and he'll swing it to the outside. It's played to the right side of the box, chipped towards the back post, and a near header and near dream start for Charlotte. It was on the head of Herrera, and he could not finish. That was perfect until the closing moment.
This is great footwork and great buildup. Herrera starts it. You see, and look, he continues his run, and he's smart. He doesn't run to the middle of the goal mouth. He runs to the far post. That creates a little bit of space for him to get that header, and you can see that it was Serbely who was a little late coming over, or picking him up in terms of the marking, and a lost opportunity for Charlotte. But it all started with Herrera making that pass out wide, and then not standing there, but running toward the far post.
So within the first 60 seconds, a near disaster for Toronto FC 2, and Charlotte nearly glorious. But going back to what I was discussing with Charlotte, there was a hiccup on Wednesday.
Yeah.
An ugly loss in the second round of the U.S. Open Cup. They fall to the Ocean City Nor'easters 3-1. Ocean City out of the PDL, and that's a match where Charlotte, though they did not have their normal starting 11, they had 73% possession and still lost. And you look at that, and that has to be frustrating.
Yeah, possession oftentimes is the most misleading or most deceptive statistic in soccer, because if you have all the ball but you don't score, you don't finish your chances, it's useless. It's possession without purpose. So Charlotte, I'm sure, learned from that experience.
Here's a good ball through, another cross coming. It's nearly crammed into the front of the net, and once again, unable to make contact on it was Charlotte. This time, Eamon Zayed had a run on it, but he couldn't get his left foot on it.
Oh, well done by Charlotte down that right side. It was Ekram playing it to Lee Jung-soo, or excuse me, to Alex Martinez, who had flooded over down to that right side. Overloading that right side very early on in this match. We saw the cross on the header by Herrera coming from the right side to the far post, and this time the play down the right side, Zayed almost getting a touch onto it. So early on, they're looking to exploit. It appears to be the left side of that Toronto defense with Kyle Bjornatun in the mix there on the left back. He's going to have to tighten things up.
In the opening 2.5 minutes, two outstanding opportunities for Charlotte have nothing to show for it. So here's Toronto FC 2. For the first time, we see some sustained possession for them. Push to the outside, Malik Johnson. Here comes his low cross. That was deflected. Still kept in, though, by Daniels. Daniels made his way to the end line, but then lost possession. And this will be a goal kick. It'll be sent away by Andrew Dykstra.
And well done by Aiden Daniels. He saw that there was a space there, so he ran into it to receive the pass from Onkoni, and then tried to make his way into the area. Numbers not in his favor, but still was able to find that little bit of space, run into it, and make that connection. So a good start for Toronto, even though it didn't lead to a shot on frame.
The second time this season that Toronto has had to, on short notice, give up a home game. Different conflicts at the MLS level or at the Canadian soccer level at BMO Field in Toronto, and that has really made a mess of things at times. As an offside here, Zayed could not keep himself behind the defender. But there was one match a month ago that had to be moved on short notice. That was against Pittsburgh. And then just Tuesday announced that Toronto FC 2 is going to have to give up another home game. So Charlotte and Pittsburgh right now will have 18 home matches this season, while the rest of the Eastern Conference will have 16, and that's raised some eyebrows around the USL. That certainly could have table implications and something that'll have to be sorted out down the road, especially if Toronto's home woes continue. This is the first year BMO Field supposed to be the permanent home of Toronto FC 2. So perhaps some adjusting down the road here for Toronto FC 2. It's been a tough season for them. They have really been throwing out young lineups. In fact, 5 of the 11 tonight in the starting 11 for Toronto are part of the Toronto FC Academy. We're talking 18, 19, 20-year-olds. And this is really trial by fire through the first 9 matches for Toronto FC 2.
And especially if you are a youngster, a teenager, and your first taste of professional soccer, and you don't get a lot of home games, it certainly, I don't want to say it stunts your progress, but it certainly is tougher to progress. And if you're talking about Toronto looking for a first win on the season, you want to get it at home and as many home games as possible. So that's a tough break for Toronto FC, but it can only help them in the long term.
Julian Dunn was able to head it out of the box. Now we have a whistle. Hitting the deck was Aiden Daniels, and a foul is called against the Charlotte Independents. We'll take a look at the contact here after Dunn was able to clear it away, and climbing up and over the back and picking up the foul. That appeared as if it was Mawapi. Well, you speak of teenagers and them being thrown into the mix and having to contribute and learning on the fly. How about Alvarez with LA2? He's got 6 goals in the last 3 matches. He's the player of the week in the USL. There is some talented youth in this league.
Yes, for sure. Alvarez, a couple of weeks ago, I did a LA Galaxy, or Los Dos game, LA2, Galaxy 2 game, and he lit it up. He was very impressive. Long-range golazo, as they say. So that's a kid with some talent. If he can progress, keep his mind right, that's the big thing. The physical talent is there, but if he keeps his mind right, he has a bright future in United States soccer.
Well, speaking of 2 goals in the same match like Alvarez had in a 7-3 loss to Portland, it's Luca Uccello who had 2 against Atlanta in a 5-4 loss on Wednesday in the Peach State. Uccello, former Canadian under-20. We'll hear his name a bunch tonight as Toronto FC 2 is going to try to continue what worked for them, which was a relentless attack and getting out on the counter against Atlanta.
Well, look at the action from Charlotte. They are pressing high. They're leaving a lot of space in the midfield in the back, trying to win that ball, put pressure on those defenders. So if they can dispossess Toronto here in the attacking half, it'll work out well for Charlotte.
Onkoni was dispossessed, and it's bounded about the midfield, and he'll go for a throw-in. So a bit sloppy here after two great opportunities at the onset in the opening 2.5 minutes from Charlotte. Both teams now trying to find consistent possession of the ball, and we have a little bit of an injury here on the Charlotte side, and getting up gingerly is Lee Jung-soo. The South Korean hero had 2 goals in the 2010 World Cup for South Korea. This is his first season in a Charlotte Independent shirt.
A lot of veteran international experience back there in defense. And you need that, especially with the way Charlotte has come out. They're pressing high. So you need a solid defender who's going to read the game well, so that if Toronto does burst through and get into those spaces, he can read the play, win back possession. But they are pressing high, trying to shake up and rattle an inexperienced and young Toronto FC2 side.
But Toronto FC2 with Uccello could not find the mark, though, and there's some of the inexperience. He tried to push it ahead to Malik Johnson, and it was well behind him. Uccello, part of the Toronto FC Academy. Malik Johnson, Canadian native. There are many Canadian natives on this Toronto FC2 roster. Many homegrown players. This is well played to the outside, and it'll be a deep attacking third throw-in. Joel Johnson able to win it.
Yep, trying to run at that left back of Toronto and Kyle Bjornathan.
Bjornathan much better this time around, though, to keep the attacker in front of him, and he pokes it out once again, and it'll be another near blueprint throw-in for Charlotte. This time it's successfully kept in, and then it's won out of the back by Dante Campbell. However, still battling for it was Johnson, and this will have to be another clearance and another throw-in for Charlotte. Bjornathan is saying, I got pushed, I was held, there should have been a foul called. So Charlotte tries to set up the offense, and that's well played. It was intercepted out of the back. Malik Johnson on the run. Johnson, jersey held, still going. Johnson, can he play it through? He's on his left foot. Could not make a final move to get around the defender, and it'll be played out.
Oh, but that's the danger of Charlotte playing that high line pressing and then having that possession and keeping the ball deep in their attacking third. If Toronto keeps their organization, you have to rotate that ball back to the middle, and there's a player like Malik Johnson to intercept and then burst through there. So Charlotte, they have to be careful. They cannot lose the ball when they have possession deep in their attacking third like that. Javon
Watson was the one who was able to come forward. The keeper's off his line, and then we have a whistle, and we're going to have a foul against Gianluca Catalano, the 18-year-old goalkeeper for Toronto FC2, it appears. He came out, and he made contact. And we'll see exactly what's going to come of this. It looks like a free kick, and a yellow will be given to Catalano. Sam Vines was on the run, and Catalano, ambitious, made contact, and that'll be an easy yellow call.
And he's lucky that one of his teammates was trailing the play, or else you could make the argument for a red card as the last player denying a goal-scoring opportunity. And he was outside of the box as well. That's fundamental goalkeeping. That's simply a no-no. So Catalano is lucky he didn't see red there. He had a teammate trailing him, so he wasn't the last man.
That was youth in action right there from Catalano. Herrera will handle the free kick from a dangerous angle. Herrera with his right foot. Catalano, he bobbled it. It's still loose in the 6-yard box, and finally Catalano is able to grab it and huddle it into his chest.
Herrera, this is a very smart and sneaky free kick there. He saw where the wall was put up and where Catalano was standing, and he tried to sneak it in near post. Catalano showing great energy to get to it, and it looked like he also took a swipe there.
He sure did.
Yes, on I believe it was Ekra, took a swipe at him there. Catalano better be careful here.
Yeah, he does have a yellow now. Yeah. Ekra was the one who did receive that swipe. Good defensive job by Rocco Romeo of Toronto FC2 as well to make sure that Ekra couldn't get a foot on it, and a whistle and a foul and a quick restart for Charlotte. And the referee, Gustavo Solorio, says, hold up, let's reset the ball.
And you can see the pressure on Toronto 2's defense is cracking a little bit with the yellow card on Catalano and the ability for Charlotte to get into the area a couple of occasions. So Toronto need a little spell of possession to calm the game down, calm their nerves down. and possibly get a goal.
Not a bad showing early from the midfield of Toronto FC, too. They look confident in possession. Here's Oconee. He'll play it forward. That was a decent ball, but Ekra was there to poke it free. That's a good veteran move. And now it's played forward on the run. Here comes Charlotte, and it's broken up in the back. Bjornathan came out of nowhere to halt that counter.
Some great passing, though, by Charlotte. Quick passing, one touch. Herrera got the ball in and tried to get it to Zayed, but Bjornathan coming back, recovering very well. Great last-minute defending by Toronto. Some good one-touch passing through the midfield going forward for Charlotte.
Charlotte has one possession, 6 of the 8 matches they've played this year. And here's another potential opportunity. This is played low, and it'll be punched out of the area. No harm done for Toronto FC2. But Charlotte, 6 of the 8 matches this season, they have been the leaders in possession against their opponent. However, in the 2 matches that they have not won possession, they've both been 4-1 wins. The season opener against Ottawa, and then the 4-1 victory over Cincinnati last weekend. A bizarre statistical anomaly.
Well, but as I mentioned, possession can often be a very misleading statistic in soccer.
Johnson is able to feed it. A shot is blocked. They still have it in the area. This will be pushed back to Serbal. Serbal, though, had that poked away, and it'll roll across the end line, and it'll go for a goal kick. But Toronto FC 2, with their best opportunity, at least had an opportunity to get a shot off.
It starts with Malik Johnson, and that run down the right side, and Luca Uccello, if he doesn't slip, he's going to get a clean shot on frame, and maybe we're looking at 1-0 in favor of Toronto. But it's Malik Johnson. He has been all over the place, up the middle on the counterattacks and then floating out wide on the right and on wing play when Toronto have possession. He has been the most dangerous attacking player for Toronto so far, and he almost created an assist there that would have led to a goal.
First shot of the night for Toronto FC 2. They come in the least shots in the USL, only 81 on the season. As you've talked about, though, before, George, shots sometimes an empty statistic.
Yeah.
What matters is shots on goal. Charlotte has 4 shots tonight, but only 1 shot on goal.
Yep, it's about testing that goalkeeper in between the sticks. And remember, Toronto, you mentioned it, Ken, 18-year-old goalkeeper, not much experience. We've already seen him pick up a yellow card. So Charlotte has to be saying, we got to pepper this kid with shots.
Ekra passed it up the midfield, was looking for Herrera, and it's turned over. Can Toronto FC 2 do something with it? Nice turn there. Here's a shot from distance and nearly caught the far post. Oh, that was ambitious and nearly paid off for Akinola.
And once again, this is Toronto on the counter with little resistance through the midfield. Before it was Johnson, this time it's Akinola. And he probably could have even taken it into the penalty area. Good ball through the pass there. I believe it was Uccello passing it through. Or no, excuse me, that was Aiden Daniels with that pass to Akinola. Quick turn, bursting through. Maybe could have taken a couple more touches, get into the area, and create a better angle for himself. But still, it's the second time we've seen a Toronto player bursting through the midfield with space and pace.
He had Dykstra beaten, and then Akinola picks up the foul in the midfield. 16th minute. And there's been some good action here as we hit the 15-plus minute mark. With George Metellus, I'm Ken Levicka. It is the USL. Toronto FC 2 looking for its first win in 2018. Charlotte Independence, meanwhile, attempting to make it 2 victories in a row for a second time this season. Toronto FC 2, some precarious moments early on, but now starting to put it together. And a good defensive play coming up strong was Javon Watson, and he was able to throw it off of Aiden Daniels, who was full sprint but not in control.
Yep, the spaces are there on those counters. Charlotte have to be careful. You're going to play a high line. You have to maintain possession. You have to make the smart passes in your attacking half. Or if not, Toronto will burst into space, and we've seen it a couple of times already.
Playing it out of the back is Lee Jung-soo. Him and Javon Watson going back and forth. This is played up ahead. Herrera was trying to find Zayed. Could not get it to him. Now Herrera has it in the midfield. On the right foot, push through to Zayed, and a strong defensive play by Bjornathan once again. He has had a workout so far tonight. Now Ekra. And a hold and a foul and a free kick on the way for the Charlotte Independents.
Yeah, Zayed is finding some space. He is making himself known in that right middle channel in and around the penalty area. Herrera has been able to find him a couple of times, or at least get the ball in his vicinity to make that Toronto FC2 defense think twice.
Charlotte has everyone forward right now.
You see how high the wing backs are pushed up. The left back, Vines, and then on the right back, Joel Johnson. They are well up the pitch. That leaves them vulnerable for the counterattacks. You see Toronto there kind of playing that 4-4-2 flat defensively.
They attempted to play a give and go. Martinez and Herrera's pass back to Martinez was well off the mark, and Toronto FC2 staying patient, able to get possession back. But you're starting to see how, based on their shape, why Charlotte so often wins possession.
And they're putting, look at Bjornathan, once again being pressured. And that high pressing, Zayed there, that was Mwape putting pressure on Bjornathan in the back and some of the defenders in the back. You have a young team with a young goalkeeper. You want to apply that pressure on the back line. See how well they can maintain their composure on the ball and make those right passes. So the strategy so far for Mike Jeffries and his team hasn't led to a goal yet, but when you have a young team like Toronto who hasn't won, put that pressure on them, especially at home.
Well, we mentioned possession, and many times it's not an incredible indicator of whether or not you're going to win or lose a match. But Toronto FC2 this year, they've played 9 matches. In 8 of them, they've had less than 50% possession. They are 0-6-2 in those matches. The one match that they did have possession in favor of them was a draw. So it has certainly been an indicator of not being able to establish enough offense when you're 0-6-2 and you're under 50% possession. And that's been the vast majority. Perhaps something brewing here for Charlotte. Martinez was cut off nicely, though, by the quick defense of Malik Johnson. But Charlotte maintains possession. Still no score. Some good opportunities very early on in the opening 2.5 minutes for the Charlotte Independents.
Voser is trying to play that ball through to Martinez, and Martinez went a little too soon.
Malik Johnson, a nice first move, but then the recovery was there by Ian Ekra. Ekra, who is all places at all times.
Yes.
And this is very bold from Lee Jun-soo. You will rarely see a defender go across the mouth of goal and then he gives it away.
Gives it away at an advantageous position for Toronto as well. Now deep in their attacking third.
So Aiden Daniels, nice cut to the end line. Can he deliver the cross? Plays it back once again. It found a head in the middle. Akinola could not direct it, however. He took a tumble to the turf, but that was his momentum, bringing him down to the ground. Toronto FC, though, has been extremely courageous and aggressive towards the ball.
Aiden Daniels had Joel Johnson on skates on Rockefeller Center. I mean, it was some great footwork and nice swivel of the hips. I wonder if Aiden Daniels is taking salsa classes or something, because the way he
those
swiveled,
loose hips.
Yeah, the loose hips. Been watching the Shakira video. I don't know, but it was the way he was able to twist and turn Joel Johnson and get that cross into the area was magnificent. That's a matchup to watch on the far side of the field. The left side of Toronto's attack, the right side of Charlotte's defense. Joel Johnson against Aiden Daniels. Right now, Aiden Daniels has the 1-0 advantage if you want to go in terms of the head-to-head one-on-one duels.
Aiden Daniels does have one appearance for the MLS club, Toronto FC. That was a substitute appearance earlier this season. Good ball through, flag is up, it's an offside. Punching it into the back of the goal was Zayed, but it won't mean anything. That will frustrate a goalkeeper. When the whistle is sounded, the flag has been up, and the attacker still puts it into the back of the net. I wonder if Catalano is going to remember that.
This is well done. The timing is a little bit off, but the patience of Charlotte here. Johnson at that right back position made the run, and then the ball filtered through. We'll see here. Look at this is what I was talking about with Daniels and Johnson. Johnson actually fouls him there.
Yeah, he does.
The referee said play on, and then cuts it back. Great left-footed curler, but Akinola was marked by 2 players. But Aiden Daniels down that left side is dangerous. As for the response, Johnson responds by trying to burst down the right side. He was offside, but still, the playmaking is there for Charlotte. Toronto's going to have to tighten it up in the midfield. They might have to mark a little bit harder, get on top of the player in the midfield a little bit quicker in order to prevent those runs getting in behind the defense.
You can certainly see some flashes of positivity for Toronto.
Yeah.
They are young, but they are quick, and they are full of some physical specimens as well. I keep looking at Malik Johnson, the midfielder. He is huge. And he can play back and forward. He's extremely fast for that frame.
Yep, he's very fast, quick. But what I liked about his game, or at least what I've seen so far of Malik Johnson, is his ability to keep the ball on his feet. When he was bursting through on that counterattack, a lot of players that have a pace, they can't control the ball. They can't keep the ball on their feet so that they can make an effective pass or shot. He was able to do that. And that's more important than being fast or quick, is how you can control the ball, your touch on the ball. That's the most important aspect of any soccer player, the touch on the ball.
A Charlotte throw in. Mwapi was dispossessed, but it'll be Charlotte to throw it in with Joel Johnson to the attacking side of the center stripe. 24th minute, still scoreless here at Sportsplex at Matthews. Charlotte looking for a second straight victory, however, disappointing loss to the Ocean City Nor'easters in the second round of the U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday. Meanwhile, it was a 5-4 loss for Toronto FC 2 at Atlanta 2 on Wednesday. This is played forward. Good ball. Push to the outside. And a cross is delivered by Vines. And it's headed, and it'll be out of play. And it's going to be a goal kick. It was Zayed who thought that it took a deflection and it should be a corner, and he will not win that protest to the referee, Gustavo Solorio.
I think also he was expecting a foul to go his way because Julian Dunn Johnson might have gone into his back when he went for the header there. So that could be another argument that he had. I didn't see that foul, but every time you get a number 9, you get a striker in the area and there's a little bit of contact, they want the penalty and the foul to go their way. But we saw good passing from Charlotte through the midfield there.
This is well played forward. It's punched up into the air. Can Herrera get his foot on it? No. And that was well done by Toronto FC. That ball hung up there just long enough for Julian Dunn, making Malik Johnson to get there and knock it away.
Herrera was going to put his left foot into it and try to get it over the line into the back of the net. And Malik Johnson tracking back, doing well defensively. But also the through ball to Voser was excellent as well, playing him into space. And so Charlotte, they have been able to slice up that midfield.
Oh, bad giveaway. Martinez poked it away. Now here is a ball that's played to the end line, to the far post, and nothing there. And Toronto FC able to get away with it. Fosser could not connect with a run that was coming down the right side of the area, and that sort of blew everything up for Charlotte.
Yeah, that was Vosser. Zayed, I thought Zayed was actually going to get a touch onto it, play it with his right, maybe finish with the left, but he let it go. And then Ekra with the service, or excuse me, Mwape was the one that got on the end of that service and then tried to cross it in.
Here, once again, is Charlotte.
Look how much time Charlotte players in the midfield are having to make a decision, to wait for their teammates to make runs.
On the right foot, once again, Toronto FC 2 well positioned defensively. Charlotte has to retreat.
And when you play a 4-4-2 defensively like that.
Oh, that was nicely done. Johnson could not get on the end of it, though. Aiden Daniels saving the day. But Martinez keeps it in. And now it falls to Herrera. Back heel pass. Played forward. Zayed, right foot. It took a deflection. It's still loose. Herrera was tripped up at a point to the spot and will have a penalty kick. It was Catalano who made contact with Herrera. It was unfortunate for Catalano, but the end result was indisputable. That was a foul.
Takes a deflection off of Malik Johnson, and then Catalano coming in. Well, let's put it this way. He couldn't beat Herrera to the ball. It takes a deflection off of Johnson, and Herrera reading the flight of the ball, and gets in there. But that all started with Toronto. They had a chance of possession. They lost it, gave it up to Charlotte very quickly in and around the penalty area, and Charlotte was able to turn it into a penalty kick. So some sloppy passing by Toronto.
There was no hesitation from the referee, Gustavo Solorio, and the captain, Jorge Herrera, will attempt for his 5th goal of the season. And he approaches the ball, and he has connected. Easy does it, Jorge Herrera, never in doubt, and Charlotte on top, 1-0. And that is goal number 5 on the year for Herrera coming into today. That ties him for the Eastern Conference lead.
Cool, calm, and collected for the captain of Charlotte, Jorge Herrera. Look at this, just slots it right up the middle. And what I like about that penalty, no hesitation, no dancing. He knew what he wanted to do. He just ran up and struck it. Most goalkeepers don't stand in the middle. They're going to move one side or the other. He knows that, so just runs up, make sure he gets solid contact on the ball right up the middle. Easy goal there. No dancing, no stuttering, no unnecessary deception of the goalkeeper. Just run up, hit it. Goalkeeper's gonna, in that case, actually dive out of the way.
So now Toronto FC 2 finds itself, unfortunately, in a familiar position, trailing and having to make up ground. The goal conceded in the 28th minute. The penalty kick converted by Jorge Herrera off the Gianluca Catalano foul, the 18-year-old goalkeeper. So far, a have to forget. He's picked up a yellow card, and there he commits the foul on Herrera as he was diving for a deflected ball. It was an easy call by the referee. And it leads to our first goal. Strong defense. What a tackle from Joel Johnson. Herrera plays it to the outside. Zayed, can he deliver the cross? It's poor. And ranging to his right is Catalano to bring it in on one hop.
Oh, it is a poor cross because Herrera is the one that wins the ball in the midfield, starts the break, plays it out wide. He is wide open around the penalty spot. And all Zayed has to do is just keep it on the ground, keep his head up, make a simple pass to Herrera. He can either one-time it with his right, switch over to the left, and make a shot there. It's a lost opportunity on a great counter by Charlotte.
Starting to see a lot of room for Charlotte to work with. Martinez plays it back, sends the defender sprawling, tried to feed it to the top of the box, could not find Fosser, and Charlotte has to retreat. It was all great up until the pass.
This is an excellent run of possession, spell of possession for Charlotte. They need to finish, though. They need to get a couple of goals here to put this match away, make it a little more comfortable. You can't have all this possession and great football going forward, great soccer and movement and passing going forward, and not score a goal. They need a couple more goals here now that they have Toronto shaking a little bit.
Toronto has conceded 19 goals this year through its first 9 matches. That is 4th worst in the USL. Not a recipe for winning soccer. Martinez, good ball forward. Zayed, right foot, what a save by Catalano. And it will deflect out for a goal kick. Catalano clearly his best play of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done by Gianluca Catalano. Looking like Gianluigi Buffon here. Look at that, cutting off the angle. I know he learned something from the Juve goalkeeper. Whatever the case, he does. It was great fundamentals there by Catalano, rushing out, cutting off the angle, and then making a big save there. Well done by Gianluca Catalano.
You take any excuse to mention Buffon
that
you can.
I've
worked with you enough to know.
Yeah. He's leaving. He won't be with Juve after the season, so that's sad. One of the great goalkeepers, one of the great class acts of all time. So any goalkeeper can watch and study Buffon. You're going to learn a lot, and you'll be a great goalkeeper.
Well, you got to like seeing that from Catalano, who, as we mentioned, it has been a rough start to the match for him.
Yeah.
And you gave up 4 goals last week, or 5 goals rather, in a 5-4 loss at Atlanta, that coming on Wednesday. And so now you're able to shake all of that off and make a strong play against the Libyan national, and you feel a little bit better. You grow some confidence, and this is all going to be for the young 18-year-old who right now is playing well before he probably should be seeing full-time action in goal. He is there because of the ruptured Achilles that Angelo Cavalluzzo suffered. But all of this is going to be learning experience, learning on the fly, and there, a lesson learned.
And for professional footballers, especially at that age, it's about the mental toughness. Physically, he's going to be fine. We all know that if he's at this level physically, he can do the job. But it's the mental preparation and the mindset that is going to be very important for him. He has to, the yellow card, the penalty, he has to put it behind him, just like a quarterback who throws an interception. You can't let it linger. It happened, it's done, it's in the past, forget about it. You come up and you make the play necessary, and he did that there against Eamon Zayed. Well done by Catalano.
Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, visit SelectSportAmerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders over $50. SelectSportAmerica.com. We're past the half-hour mark here in Matthews, North Carolina, about 15 minutes to the southeast of Charlotte. A great facility, cozy facility here in the suburbs of Charlotte. Charlotte Independence 10th in the table, coming off of back-to-back USL playoff appearances. Toronto FC2, meanwhile, trying to right the ship. They still have a 0 in the win category. Off the throw-in, Charlotte trying to formulate an attack once again. Alex Martinez sent it off the back heel of Ekra. He was able to regain possession, and then Toronto FC2 able to send the ball back to the midfield.
And well done there by Rocco Romeo, because Herrera was going to get a touch onto it, try to spin.
That was a good ball by Johnson. Now Martinez collects, turns, faces the box, makes his way in on his left foot, sends it to the back post. A potential handball in the area. That's what Zayed's looking for, though it did not look to be purposeful. The referee decided not to make a call, and I think that was the right decision. And Toronto FC2 is able to get the ball out of danger for now.
And the handball rules in professional soccer can be very confusing, but in that instance, intentional, but also unnatural. I don't think it was an unnatural position there. And so, referee does not blow for the penalty.
It was on Coney, who had that make contact with, I believe, his elbow. Zayed, though he appealed for it, did not make a vociferous protest for a handball, and I think he knew that there was no way the referee was going to make that call. Martinez takes on a hard foul that was committed by Bjornathan. You see the cross from Martinez. Now Zayed actually went off his face, it looked like. I'm not even sure there was any hand contact whatsoever. And there,
because of the way the ball came off his body high, I think that's where the controversy is, and that's why. But in the end,
you saw Mike Jeffries in that shot, Charlotte Independence head coach. He was appealing for it momentarily, but again, just like Zayed, did not go wild with that argument. And it was a yellow that was shown to Bjornathan after he took Martinez to the turf.
Yeah, this is a rough challenge here by Bjornathan.
Yeah, it sure is.
Easy card right there. He has no grounds to complain. That was an easy yellow card.
Both feet coming forward and from behind.
Yep.
So that's the second yellow against Toronto FC2. Bjornathan in the 36th minute, and it was Gianluca Catalano, the goalkeeper, with a yellow in the opening 15 minutes. Joel Johnson, his attempt to find Herrera is sent across the touchline.
But we saw in the first, maybe what, 5-10 minutes of the match, Bjornathan exploited a little bit in terms of the ball going in behind him and that constant pressure on that left side of the Toronto attack leads to Bjornathan getting a card. So now he has to be careful pushing forward. That could be something that Charlotte continues to exploit. Could lead to a second goal, or the genesis of a second goal comes from that side of their attack, the left side of Toronto's defense.
Both of these clubs with a red card shown this season. Herrera, captain's armband. He'll play it off to the left side for Lee Jung-soo. Played forward, good touch ahead, but it's broken up by Malik Johnson. Malik Johnson says, I'm going to try and just do this by myself. Gets it to the midfield, and then gives it up to Akinola. A long ball sent across, and Joel Johnson was there to track it, but Toronto FC2 does earn itself a throw-in.
That's actually a clever play there by Sable in order to play it out wide to Daniels. Daniels was unmarked, relative wide open. We'll say he was wide open. if that pass had a little more weight to it, was a little bit heavier.
Akinola receives a long throw in. Look at the veteran play by Lee Jung-soo. Won the ball away and has the presence of mind to send it across the touchline. The 38-year-old has not skipped a beat. He has been sensational here tonight. This is his 4th appearance of the season, and it's moments like that that show you he probably could log more minutes.
Oh, absolutely. That's the experience, because it was a quick throw and a quick play by Toronto, but he read it all the way and was there to defend it.
A long throw in coming to the box, headed down by Johnson. He has been absolutely everywhere, and it's cleared out. And there's a handball. That's not called by the referee. That clearly went off of the left hand of Julian Dunn. And Toronto FC 2 will maintain possession.
Well, you have to give it up to the referee. He's been consistent. That's what you want from your referee. Whether you like the decisions or not, he has been consistent. 2 handballs so far, and neither time has he called for the foul, or in the first case of a possible handball, the penalty. So he's been consistent.
This is a good ball ahead. Push to the outside. Here's a low cross, and we'll have a corner for Toronto FC 2. Malik Johnson was able to play it off of Sam Vines. That was good offense.
Yes.
And this is a Chick-fil-A corner coming via Toronto FC 2.
And Akinola was making a run into the area, but he was well defended by Javon Watson. So even if Malik Johnson was able to get that service in, it looked like Javon Watson was going to be able to keep it out and at least prevent Akinola from getting a touch onto it.
Luca Uccello surveys and looks for white shirts to deliver to. The right-footed cross, it'll be an outswinger. Sends it to the far post, a head is on it, and it'll be kept in near the area. A turn, and Toronto FC will play it back. Aiden Daniels will push it to the right side. That's a good ball. Uccello, can he beat his man? Yes, he can. Left-footed delivery, headed up into the air. Is it kept in play? The answer is no. Looked like something potentially developing, but Malik Johnson was unable to make it. Akinola was unable to keep it in play.
Yep, Toronto, a little bit of a possession there, able to threaten the Charlotte defense a little bit, but in the end didn't lead to a goal-scoring chance.
Well, Toronto FC 2 is not panicked, though, after the penalty kick conversion from Herrera, and are at least continuing to put pressure on the goal. Here is Herrera to Martinez. Left-footed low cross. That was deflected. Toronto FC 2 in the run of play once again. A good job defensively. Get a player's perspective of all the action around the USL every Wednesday as the Tampa Bay Rowdies' Jack Blake hosts the Blakedown on the USL YouTube channel. Serbal had a pass deflected right back to him. And now Toronto FC 2 will try and work it out of the back, and a whistle and a foul. And this is Kai Fosser, a bit physical in the middle of the field.
Gonna get a verbal warning here. Does come in on Luca Uccello from behind.
Fosser trying to plead his case, and the referee says, as George was mentioning, got to be careful, or the next time it's a car.
Yeah, this is for Charlotte. If they can get another goal here before the end of the first half, that'll be huge, because they've been the better attacking side. They've looked more dangerous in attack. And with that teenage goalkeeper back there with a little bit of inexperience, you want to give him something to think about in the second half. They need another goal here.
Strong turn from Serbal, tried to play it through, and up comes Dykstra to slide and corral it. Dykstra on loan from Colorado Rapids. Previously, he was with Sporting KC. So a big league keeper now plying his trade here with Charlotte Independence. He has one clean sheet this season, has not been tested so far tonight. And not a shot on goal. He has been tested. He was beaten on one shot from Akinola that just missed the mark.
That was off of a counterattack. That has not happened to Toronto in the last 5 or 10 minutes. I'd say about the last 7 to 10 minutes, they haven't had a good counter-attacking opportunity. Charlotte has made sure they've kept the possession deep in their attacking third. And then when Toronto do get it back, they apply the pressure, regain the ball back, not allowing Johnson and Akinola to get those spaces to run out and get all that green in front of them and stretch their legs and burst forward.
Akinola was able to draw a foul.
See Johnson. Oh, well,
Good move by Johnson. Of Malik Johnson at the last moment, dispossessed by the veteran, Lee Jung-soo.
And Malik Johnson he's playing well down that right side, able to burst through a couple of players, showing his quickness, but also, as I mentioned before, the ability to keep the ball at his feet. The touches haven't been too heavy where he essentially just bursts forward and basically takes himself out of the play. He's been able to keep the ball at his feet relatively close, use his pace to his advantage running into space. He just needs some more touches. Toronto needs some more possession in order to kind of maximize what he can do in attack.
Foster and Vines handling business on the left side. And now a long ball played up ahead, and Ekra well off the mark. Moapi was making a run, but there was no chance he was going to catch up to that. We'll get an update on stoppage time in just a couple of moments. 1-0 Charlotte on top, 44th minute. The USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. All you have to do is hit that follow button at USL on Twitter. That's at USL.
One thing we've seen so far, at least from the Charlotte perspective, the movement between Moape, Martinez, and Ekra has been excellent. Those three, they haven't been restricted to one side or the other. They have this freedom to move along with Herrera, to move and get into space, read the play, and get into space. All three of them have been effective in certain points in the game in creating opportunities and positioning themselves to enhance the attack for Charlotte. So all three of them have played well in this first half.
Serble feeds it to Malik Johnson, now right back to Serble. He has some room to operate. Ekra comes up to play him defensively. It's sent back to the midfield. This will be sprayed to the outside. We're in the 45th minute. Twilight stages of half number one here in Matthews, North Carolina. Charlotte, a 1-0 advantage over Toronto FC2. Played out of the back. Here's Oconee with that huge frame. Gives it up to Serble. Serble tried to punt it to the top of the box. Easily played down by Lee Jung-soo, and we have a lightning quick minute of stoppage time coming. Can Charlotte do something with it? It is given away, though. That was Serble who came up to make a play, and then he's on the receiving end of a tackle from Moapi, and that'll be a Toronto FC2 throw-in. Both players, maybe that was actually Bjornathan who was on the receiving end, not Serble, but both players a bit dinged up after that tackle.
That is a tough break for Charlotte. Moape had a ton of space. He wanted to play it out wide to the right to Joel Johnson. He had plenty of space to run through the middle and exploit that space, then kind of suck in the defenders and then play it out wide. He also had Herrera, he had Zayed in attack as well, and Moape making that poor decision, costing Charlotte a chance at a goal-scoring opportunity when they had the numbers going forward on the counterattack.
Serble able to touch it to the back, and now it heads into the midfield as we are in the closing seconds of this first half. Toronto FC2 with the throw-in. Perhaps the last opportunity for either team coming now, courtesy of Toronto FC2. Bjornathan holds near the touchline. It's played forward. Uccello maintains possession, was able to find Akinola. Akinola, that's broken up by Ekra. Strong play from Charlotte. There's the whistle, and we are done with half number one. Chances for both sides. Pretty quick pace of play, but George, a deserved penalty kick and a goal for Jorge Herrera.
Yeah, Charlotte has been the dominant side in terms of attack in this first half, but they need to finish their chances better. They need a little bit crisper passing in the final third to really put away Toronto. It's there for them if they can do that in the second half.
So one half is complete. The Charlotte Independence 1, Toronto FC 2-0. We start the halftime show after this. You're watching the USL.
I don't have my wallet, so.
Perfect. You can send a digital payment.
I don't have one of those payment apps.
Perfect. You have a US-based bank account, right?
I have Wells Fargo.
Perfect. Then you should have Zelle.
Perfect.
Perfect.
The #1 mobile banking app just got better.
Does your coach use Zelle too?
Of course.
Another way we're building better every day.
One 0 host Charlotte Independence leads Toronto FC2 with a Jorge Herrera penalty kick. That the difference. Let's go ahead and take a look at some highlights from the USL. We'll get some Week 9 look in a moment, but first, some highlights from the first half of this match, and early on a glorious opportunity for Herrera, George.
Oh, he's the one that actually started this movement. Smart pass out wide and then makes a run. First he heads toward the middle of the goal, and then look at him fade toward the post to free himself, give him a little bit of space, but just couldn't connect on the header. And then after a foul in which the yellow card was given to Gianluca Catalano, he tries to swerve it near post, surprise the teenage keeper, and Catalano reading it and able to prevent it from going over the line into the back of the net. But Charlotte, in those first 10-15 minutes, were looking like they were going to get 2 or 3 goals. Toronto had a couple of chances. This is the one we were talking about here, as Akinola running into space. No one closes in on him. He had more time to go into the area, maybe pick a better angle. It didn't quite work. And then look at a turnover there by Toronto. They can't maintain possession. And Eamon Zayed, deflection off of Malik Johnson, and Catalano commits the foul there. But that's the constant pressure that Charlotte put on Toronto that led to this goal scoring, or at least the penalty spot shot opportunity.
And that was a clear penalty kick. No dispute there. And then Herrera does this.
Yeah, and we mentioned it when he took the spot shot. Look, don't dance, don't hesitate, don't play any psychological Coachella Beyonce games with the goalkeeper. Just step up and smash it, and that's exactly what he did. He knew the goalkeeper was going to go one side or the other, so he just put a lot of pace into it in the middle, and he was able to get it to score, get a goal.
Herrera, his 5th goal of the season, and then more pressure, and Catalano coming up big for his team after a rough open to this match.
Yeah, good fundamental goalkeeping by Catalano, reading the play and then closing down the angle to prevent Zayed not only from scoring, but squaring it to someone who would have an easy tap. Possession,
no surprise here, 63-37 in favor of the Charlotte Independence. 5-3 shots for Charlotte, 3-zip shots on target. Toronto FC2's best shot of the match was that Akinola opportunity that had beaten the keeper, but was off the mark. 2 yellows for Toronto FC2, including the goalkeeper, Gianluca Catalano.
Yeah, it was Catalano's fortunate that he didn't get a red on that because of the rule of the last player denying a goal-scoring opportunity, and he was outside the box as well. But this is one of the times where the possession actually has purpose, because they're able to get shots on target, shots, and obviously scored a goal as well. So if Charlotte keeps it up in the second half, they could finish it with 3 points.
So it's 1-0 Charlotte Independence on top of Toronto FC2. I promised it earlier. Now here it is, the best of Week 9 in the USL.
A couple of moves inside the area.
Curls it in. Oh, what a strike from the captain!
The Ram is in! Jesus Enriquez!
Drogba blast! And what a world-class goal that is from Didier Drogba! Stutter step, Cavaluzzo!
Saved by Mydell. Into the penalty area for three. Frater. And a fantastic save produced by Matt Van Oekel. Incredible save.
Kelly from distance. And Mydell has reversed it.
It's a good ball to the back post. Gordon Wiles there, and what a strike from the German.
Zubak has a break on goal. He's looking to put the Galaxy on top 1-0, and he does. Ethan Zubak.
Looking to cross, does, low cross, punched away.
Takes a shot. Now a battle in the box. Shot it in!
Kelly! Dave Kelly!
Side last, on the knock it back to the header. Score! Cross into the middle for Williamson.
So that's a great look. That was a great week 9 of this USL 2018 campaign. Here in Matthews, North Carolina, 1-0 Charlotte Independence lead Toronto FC 2. So we saw the highlights. Who made the USL Team of the Week? We discussed him in the first half. George Metellus. Alvarez, LA Galaxy 2. He has 6 goals in the last 3 matches. He is the player of the week. And the timeless one, Didier Drogba, with that blast for the goal. And in fact, tonight he could make his 500th club start in his career.
Yeah, what a legend Didier Drogba is. But Kalen Wrighton also had a very good game for Real Monarchs, as well as they are the best team in the Western Conference, as well as former OKC Energy player, and also Diego Restrepo, one of the best goalkeepers in USL for San Antonio FC. But Kalen Wrighton is a player to watch. He has a bright future.
And of course, Charlotte Independence, there's Fosser, and we've heard his name a lot tonight. He has been very involved in the Charlotte attack. So there's your USL Team of the Week. Upcoming schedule as we head towards next weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Toronto FC 2, Tampa Bay Rowdies. That will be a home match finally for Toronto FC 2. Charleston Battery and Nashville. Penn FC visits Pittsburgh FC Cincinnati. They're on the top of the table in the Eastern Conference. They take on the defending champs, Louisville City FC. That'll be bottom of the 7 o'clock hour.
Should be a great one there between Cincinnati and Louisville. Talking about 2 consistent teams in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. Could be a lot of goals in that one.
The U.S. Open Darlings from a year ago against the USL Darlings from 2017. Charlotte Independence won, Toronto FC 2-0. 45 minutes and change still to come. We'll be back to the Queen City after this timeout. You're watching the USL.
I don't have my wallet, so.
Perfect. You can send a digital payment.
I don't have one of those payment apps.
Perfect. You have a US-based bank account, right?
I have Wells Fargo.
Perfect. Then you should have Zelle.
Perfect.
Perfect.
The #1 mobile banking app just got better.
Does your coach use Zelle too?
Of course.
Another way we're building better every day.
With George Metellus, I'm Ken Levicka. Beautiful low 80s here in Charlotte. Charlotte Independence 1, Toronto FC 2-0. Everybody enjoying themselves here at Sportsplex at Matthews, and why not? The home team on top. And like we said, this is pristine soccer weather. Let's go through the upcoming schedule for Charlotte Independence. It'll be at Richmond next week. All 7 o'clock kicks until we get to June 16th. At Ottawa, making the trip June 2nd. And then at New York Red Bulls 2, June 9th. Just a couple of days later, a visit to Atlanta United 2. And then home against Charleston Battery. So the next 4 for Charlotte are on the road. This is a key stretch coming up.
Yeah, 4 road games in a row with 12 possible points. It'll be a good stretch for Charlotte if they can get about 9 points, 9 to 10 points in that span. So this is going to be a test of their season right here. If they can get positive points in all those games, then you're looking at a team that could qualify for the playoffs.
What a wild part of the schedule. It was top of the table against Cincinnati, a win there. Tonight, bottom of the table in the Eastern Conference against Toronto, and then 4 on the road, and sandwiched in between a second-round U.S. Open Cup match as well.
Yeah, Charlotte is going to be, this could be, it's very early, but it's a part of the season that could define whether they are a true playoff team.
Toronto FC 2, here's what they have in their next 5. They are home at BMO Field against Tampa Bay Rowdies. Rowdies coming off of a coaching change this week. That'll be 2 o'clock Eastern time north of the border. And at Ottawa, at Penn. And it was a matchup with Penn a week and a half ago where Toronto FC 2 lost their starting goalkeeper, Cavalluzzo. And then home matches against Indy 11 and FC Cincinnati. So it'll be challenging for Toronto FC 2. Some teams that are fairly equal competition-wise, or at least you're not playing the Louisvilles of the world. You're not playing at the top of the table, but this is just a stretch where Toronto FC 2 is going to have to continue this learning process.
Yeah, it's going to be very important that they play positive football. They keep their mentality positive. It's always good to see Toronto and Ottawa, a little Canadian rivalry there, so we'll see how that plays out. But I don't know where they're going to get a victory there. There's some tough teams there.
Then, of course, first place FC Cincinnati on June 27th. ESPN 3 upcoming schedule in the USL. St. Louis and Phoenix Rising on May 30th. Then we head to June, 2 matches on ESPN 3. FC Cincinnati against Bethlehem Steel. Nashville FC and Indy 11. That'll be an ESPN News match. Same story for Indy 11 and Ottawa Fury on Independence Day, and then OKC Energy against Las Vegas Lights on the 11th of July. And that's what's coming up, the ESPN schedule for the USL. Speaking of ESPN, speaking of highlights, that man has had a couple of them tonight, including his converted penalty kick, Jorge Herrera. And now Toronto FC 2 will try and find the equalizer after a 4-goal outburst on Wednesday against Atlanta 2, though in a 5-4 defeat. And we are underway in the second half here in Matthews, North Carolina. Sportsplex at Matthews. 1-0 the advantage for Charlotte Independence. Jorge Herrera with the penalty kick conversion, and that is the difference. Toronto FC 2 has yet to put a shot on goal, though Ayo Akinola had the best opportunity of the night for Toronto FC2 with a shot from about 35 yards that was just wide of the far post. Second meeting of the year between these two teams. You have to go all the way back to March 24th, right here in Matthews, North Carolina. That was a 2-0 Charlotte Independence victory over Toronto FC2. This match, again, as we have said a couple of times tonight, was supposed to be at BMO Field in Toronto. There was some heavy traffic on that field the last couple of weeks, and it needs a bit of restoration. So on Tuesday announced that, in fact, we were headed to North Carolina. There's an early cross that'll be headed out nicely by Onconi of Toronto FC2. This will go for a throw-in for Charlotte Independence.
If you're Charlotte, all you have to do is maintain the same mentality, maintain the same strategy or tactics that you had in the first half. Very simple. The big difference is you got to finish those chances, because we've seen it time and time again, especially in USL. A team will have more possession, more shots, and then the match is a 1-1 draw.
Playing it onto his right foot, looking to get forward as Herrera. Instead, give it up to Joel Johnson. That'll be sent to the outside, short range pass, Mwapi. Back and forth he goes with Johnson, and now Ekra will push it back out to the midfield. Easy does it here for Charlotte Independence, coming out of the locker room with that 1-0 advantage. No need to excessively push forward if you're Charlotte, especially with a struggling offensive attack from Toronto FC2.
And we're starting to see when
flag stayed down. Staying on side was Mwapi.
And when Charlotte are in attack.
Johnson to the edge of the area. Played it low into the middle of the box, and that was played down and cleared out, but given it back into the attacking third. Ekra able to keep it in possession. So Toronto FC2 under siege here early on in this second half, but a nice move to escape trouble by Dante Campbell, but then he gives it away once again. Javon Watson will spray this to the outside. Coming from the left, Martinez. Martinez on his right foot. Able to play it forward. Here's a shot from Martinez, and the save for Catalano. Zayed with a great pass, but it was an awkward angle, and Martinez saw Catalano play the near post perfectly.
This is great football, great soccer by Charlotte. First of all, Javon Watson to play it out wide to Martinez open. Look at, he has the defender twisting and turning it inside. Great touch there one time, and then the shot right there. Good one-touch football, one-touch soccer.
Zayed once again sends a good ball, this time though to the right side. Johnson took it in with his right foot. Now gives it up to Mwapi. Mwapi on his left foot. This is a good cross. Zayed the header, and he's able to score! How excellent was that? What a ball from Mwapi, and then Zayed guides it inside the far post. That is sensational, and it's a well-deserved second for Charlotte.
Zayed had been lingering all inside the penalty area the whole match, but Mwapi down that right side has been absolutely lethal. Couple of step-over moves, cuts it back to his left, and you can see this is poor marking. Dunn Johnson loses Zayed. Zayed times it so that he's not offside, excuse me. Times it so he's not offside, and he's able to get that header. I thought Herrera would get a touch onto it, and I think even Zayed was expecting that header to be poked in by Herrera. That was more of a squaring header than a header on frame, or at least toward goal, but went over the line into the back of the net. Well done, but it's Charlotte down that right side. Mwapi has been excellent floating out wide to the right throughout this match.
Zayed, his second goal in as many USL matches. He was one of the 4 goal scorers in the victory over Cincinnati last weekend. Second goal of the season for Zayed, and now Toronto FC2 has a monumental mountain to climb. This is played forward, though, potentially an opportunity. And was there a takedown? No. And furious is Dante Campbell as he runs up to the referee saying, I was clipped from behind. This should be a free kick. Meanwhile, Charlotte Independence plays on.
And Dante Campbell can't continue to get upset. He has to come back and track back defensively.
The flag is down. Martinez tries to spin. It was poked away and won. That is strong defense from Julian Dunn. He saved a goal. Charlotte was looking for it.
But Martinez got a little too fancy. All he needed to do was square to Zayed. Zayed is wide open unmarked. He squared to Zayed, and Zayed, who already has a goal, he's feeling confident. He's your number 9, your big striker. You squared to him, and he could one-time the shot. But he got a little too fancy with the post moves, if you want to use a basketball expression, and he cost his team a chance at a 3rd goal.
Martinez nearly had a one-on-one with the keeper, Catalano, but it was Dunn who at the last moment able to muscle Martinez away and grab possession.
And if you're Charlotte, you have to be extra aggressive now. You have to be a coyote on a goat. Go for the throat and finish this game.
Joel Johnson, what a touch off his head from an awkward angle to the far post. Could not connect. He was looking for Herrera, but the pass was behind him. Toronto FC2 will try and hit on the counter.
Oh, and he had Zayed again, and then Martinez with a late run as well.
Akinola with a poor pass on the counter, but Toronto FC2, good shape here. To the left of the area, Daniels, flag is up, offside. Daniels just flicks the ball away in frustration.
Yeah, Daniels, he had a good first half when he did touch the ball, especially when he had that one-on-one situation against Joel Johnson. But after Charlotte started to be a little more deliberate with the possession, have more of the ball, he was essentially taken out of the game.
You just wonder where 2 goals are coming from for Toronto FC2. You just don't see a clear path to that in any way.
And the issue now for Toronto is that.
And the flag stayed down. No, now it's up. Martinez was a couple of steps offside. Julian Dunn was able to play up just enough to ensure that Martinez wasn't able to have a run in.
Yeah, they kept that line solid. They stayed in formation, if you will. But going back to the point about Toronto, in the first half, it was about counterattacking, but they're not really putting any pressure on the ball, forcing any kind of turnover. So Charlotte has plenty of time and space to operate, taking away from Toronto's ability to counter and get a goal.
Charlotte Independence is just blasting the right side of that Toronto FC defense right now. They are really running at Bjornathan, trying to hit long balls over the top. Martinez just trying to put on the burners. Now he's on the opposite side. Plays through to Zayed. Zayed back to goal. He'll reevaluate and now deliver for a given up cross. Potentially that was there. Instead, it'll be worked back to the edge of the attacking third. Martinez was offside. He gets back onside. Meanwhile, hard work being done by Serbal of Toronto FC2. Speaking of hard work, Akinola able to win possession, and he'll fire it to Daniels on the near side. Well, Toronto FC2 is still battling, still trying to put some sort of attack together, but trailing 2-0. This is a steep ascent on the way for the basement dwellers in the Eastern Conference. Here's a turn, that was well done. Serbal, full head of speed. Nice give, a shot, and what a save. Dykstra denying Akinola. It was one-on-one, and Dykstra wins the battle.
What a great save by Dykstra, but the turn by Seibel, using his body to keep Ekra off and then bursting into space, and there was a great pass through.
Mawapi, though, gives it to Herrera. This is a ball to Martinez. Can he get a shot off? He tripped, kept it on his right foot, and Catalano is equal to the task. Back-to-back outstanding saves by both keepers.
You gotta like the fact that both teams are really going for it, being aggressive. It's the turn right there by Seibel, getting around Ekra, who's been excellent all game, and then the great through ball, a little slight touch there to get it to Akinola and Dykstra. Fundamental goalkeeping, you cut off the angle, and you prevent a goal there. Well done by Dykstra, and then on the other end, Catalano with a huge save.
A Chick-fil-A corner kick here for Charlotte. Perhaps Akinola, if he kept the ball low and with some pace, would have had better results than attempting the chip. Short corner here for Charlotte. Martinez, 35 yards away, floats it to the penalty area. It'll find its way towards the near touchline where Mawapi catches up to it. Mawapi with an assist tonight. Does he have another? Fed it perfectly to Zayed, who could not get a head on it, and puts his hands on his head in disbelief. He knows he should have had his second, and it should have been the second delivered by the outstanding vision of Mawapi.
Mawapi is dominating Bjornathan on that right side of the Charlotte attack, the left side of the Toronto defense.
So Petrasso is going to enter for Toronto FC2. He takes Akinola off the pitch. Petrasso, the 17-year-old, got a start against Atlanta 2. And we also have Jordan Feria in the match for Toronto FC2. So trying to look for some offensive options is the head coach, Laurent Guillot. And there is Feria. And let's see who he has taken off, and it's Malik Johnson. So changes to the top of the formation for Toronto FC2. There's a new striker, it's Luca Petrasso, and then Jordan Feria comes in that three-man forward spot.
Now, Malik Johnson was playing out wide on the right. So you see, let's see if Feria floats out wide to the right. It looks like Petrasso is going to move to the left. Aiden Daniels is going to go to the top of that 4-2-3-1.
So two Canadians enter the fray for Toronto FC2, desperately looking to cut this Charlotte lead in half. Two substitutions back-to-back for Toronto FC2, and they come the 57th minute.
And for Petrasso, yeah, he's down the left side. He is going to have to track back and help Bjornathan because Mawapi has been dominating Bjornathan, has been controlling that part of the pitch. So Petrasso has to help out and drop back a little bit, help out Bjornathan in defense for Toronto on the left side of their formation, the left side of the Toronto formation.
So in this Toronto 4-2-3-1, at the very top you have a 17-year-old in Petrasso, and at the very bottom you have an 18-year-old keeper in Catalano. That just gives you an idea of the youth that Toronto FC2 is playing with right now. Bjornathan. Everybody's pushing forward now for Toronto FC2. This is played into some space. Uccello had 2 goals on Wednesday against Atlanta 2. To Faria, newly entered into the game. His cross is headed towards the touchline. It'll be tracked down by Mawapi, and it'll be a goal kick. He just turned and fired it off of Bjornathan.
Look out for Serbly now pushing up more, getting more involved in the attack. Obviously, Luca Uccello is maybe their best creator of goal-scoring chances, and then you have Aiden Daniels as well. Look out for those three in the midfield and in attack for Toronto to be the players that spearhead a possible comeback.
Want to get exclusive video content and photography from across the USL? Make sure to follow the league's official Instagram account at USL Soccer. Here's a quick throw in. And here is an opportunity for Uccello on the right foot. It was deflected down. Able to catch up to it, though, is Faria. Faria with a left foot cross. That's headed away. It's kept in, though. That was outstanding hustle at the top of the area. However, it sprays free. This will be an attacking third throw-in. Toronto FC2 perhaps caught Charlotte off guard just a tad. Now to the edge of the box. Bjornathan gives it up. And now it's sent off to the left side for Campbell. Near the midfield, Serbal. Toronto FC2 trying to reorganize their push to goal. Trailing 2-0. Still possessing is Faria. Trying to find some room. Serbal able to split defenders. Serbal taken down in the box. And the referee says play on, no foul.
But Serbal, since he's moved up into the attack, been more involved.
Serbal says, give me this cross. A step over and a corner on the way for Toronto FC2. Faria was able to earn it for his squad. And there you see Serbal, who is putting in maximum effort. Servo, I think, probably threw himself to the turf a tad.
He was trying to get the penalty. He went down himself. There was no touch there, but you got to like the aggression. He saw the space, he saw the green in front of him, and he attacked it. That's what you want to see young players do, especially from the midfield.
Here comes the corner kick. It's dangerous, but it was Aiden Daniels who couldn't get a great head on it, and it's out of play for a deep defensive third Charlotte throw-in.
This is great work by Toronto here. They're feeling confident, and one common theme throughout any soccer match, any football match, 2-0. While it looks like a comfortable lead with 1 goal, Toronto is back in it. So you always have to be careful, especially if you're Charlotte in this situation, 2-0. You cannot allow Toronto to get some confidence and build a possession. You have to get this tempo back in your favor and then ultimately get a 3rd goal and put it away.
And Toronto FC, too, was able to force Dykstra into a mistake and a throw-in. Where was this Toronto FC 2 in the opening 10 minutes of the second half? It was a sleepy start for Toronto FC 2, and now it is wildly aggressive.
Well, I think now when they made changes on the wings, that's important. Those fresh legs have been important, and I think with those changes, they are able to hold the ball up a little bit better.
Bjornathan punches it with his left foot. Dykstra punches it away with 2 hands. Ekra, it falls to his feet, and now Martinez in space. He has been incredibly dangerous tonight. What a step over by Martinez, and now a spin out of trouble as well. That was some prime time degree of difficulty. A 10 moves there from Martinez, and now he has it back, and he's looking for more, trying to put some flash on it, and this time Toronto FC 2 able to knock it away. Serble.
He did all of that, but he had no one going forward. Toronto did a good job transition defense of getting numbers behind the ball, and so Martinez had to do that just to hold on possession, but you didn't see him go forward and make a pass forward. That's because Toronto got numbers back. Well done on transition defense by Toronto too.
Coney will play it to the middle. Campbell off to the left-hand side. Bjornathan, who's now playing more of a midfield role. Here's a turn. That was well done by Uccello. Gives it up to Serble from distance, and it's well off the mark.
Yeah, Serble carving out a little bit of space after Uccello was able to get the possession, and we're seeing down the left side now for Toronto, Bjornathan, and with Petrasso in the game, they're starting to get a little bit more possession and force that Charlotte back line into being better organized. And then Uccello getting some touches as well. Uccello, Serble, and Aiden Daniels, those 3, they can continue to get multiple touches and more touches. They're going to look more and more dangerous.
You've got to think that the Charlotte Independents are going to have some opportunities to hit on the counter here in the remaining 27 minutes, because everybody is pushing forward for Toronto.
Yeah, plenty of space in the back for Charlotte to exploit. They just got to make that right connection of passes.
Here's Fosser. Fosser off to his right. This is a good ball, staying onside. Mwapi in a dangerous spot to deliver. Mwapi a step over, gives it up to Joel Johnson. Joel Johnson on the right foot. Tried to find Zayed, who's camped out on the far post, and it's over his head and corralled by Oconee.
Zayed actually had the position inside on Oconee. He had Oconee to his back with his body facing goal, just the pass was high. A little bit lower on the pass, and Zayed could even chest it down and use his feet, or he's got to go with his head already. He could have got another goal with his head.
Good work in the back there from Toronto FC 2. Maybe the best tonight that the back 4 has done to lead the charge. On the right foot, here's a shot, and Dykstra diving, sprawling, but that never was going to find the mark. Uccello decided to give it a go, but it was about 7 feet wide.
Yeah, Uccello, and we've seen Serble as well. Look, there's no one cutting into the area to make a run, so Uccello, with that space in front of him, he has no choice but to take the shot, and it's the smart choice. If he doesn't have any players coming in from wide positions into the area, or no one bursting from the midfield that he can just lay off a pass to, and you have space given in front of you, take that long-range effort. We've seen plenty of professional players score goals like that. So Uccello and Serble are making the right choices. Now they just need players to move off the ball into the penalty area, into space, to create better goal-scoring chances.
Aiden Daniels to Serble. Serble's been a bulldozer in this second half,
Yes,
and
he has.
this is a strong ball forward. Petrasso gives it to Bjornathan. He chips it to the middle of the box, and it's a goal! They have found a way to cut the lead in half. You saw it building up. It was very, very big effort from Toronto FC2, and it's deserved for Feria. The substitution has made it 2-1. Toronto's back in it.
And it's the two subs that combine here. If this is Petrasso playing it out wide to Bjornathan, and then, oh, this is a great ball by Bjornathan. And it is Faria getting inside of his marker. This time he gets inside of Samuel Vines, and he is able to finish. But down the left side of the attack of Toronto FC, with Petrasso and Bjornathan, they have been able to make headway and get deep into the attacking third, their attacking third, and create chances, or at least disorganize the Charlotte backline, and it finally leads to a goal. So great substitutions by Laurent Guillot to open a game up for Toronto.
Jordan Feria has put Toronto FC2 in a spot where they can make a match of this. And because of the pressure and because of the increased aggression, we were discussing it, you could see something like that coming.
Yep, absolutely. The substitutions were important. Johnson and Akinola are players that they're good in terms of counterattacking because of their pace. But if you need possession, you need to play the ball a little bit better. It appears that with Petrasso and Feria, and then that combination of Uccello, Serble, and Aiden Daniels, they play the ball better. The movement is a little bit better in terms of moving the ball around and passing through the midfield and building the attack kind of slowly and deliberately.
Well, fasten your seatbelts. Young, spunky Toronto FC2 has been the better team for the last 15 minutes of this match. Bjornathan again makes his way to the left of the area. Joel Johnson was able to get his foot up and deflect it off of Bjornathan, or is this going to be a throw for Toronto FC2? Nope, this will be Charlotte. Bjornathan was frustrated that Johnson blasted it back off of Bjornathan for the throw-in. Zayed will come off for Charlotte. On comes Kevon George, the midfielder from Trinidad and Tobago. There you get a look at him. So Zayed's night is done. He picked up the second goal of the evening for Charlotte Independence, and now a goal kick for Dykstra and Charlotte. Charlotte Independence trying to slow the match down a bit right now, plug the hole. The pace of this has certainly favored Toronto FC2. They have used their young speedsters to finally reach a hole in this defense. And this was old, George, Charlotte at the start of the second half.
Yes, it looked like Charlotte would be the team that would get another goal that would put the match away. But Toronto, instead of going to the counter, decided to play the possession game. They held the ball longer. They found those spaces, especially in the middle, and they were able to pick up a goal here. So well done by Laurent Guillot.
Ekra, Charlotte now sniffing goal. Herrera tried to play it through. That was punched away. Can Toronto FC2 get on the counter? The answer is no. The newcomer into the match, George, able to grab possession.
Now with Kevon George in the area in the game now, what has happened is they saw how in the middle of the pitch, Uccello and Daniels and Serble were able to just do what they want. All that space to run through the middle, they saw that. So now Kevon George comes in. His responsibility is to slow all of that down and help Charlotte regain the possession.
Fosser called for the foul. And Toronto FC2, some urgent pursuit to the ball by this young squad. There is urgency in their plays. They look for an equalizer. Had an improbable opening goal, and boy, would it be even more shocking if they were able to find a second the way things were trending for them. And now a battle for the ball, and a foul is called against Toronto FC2. Serble getting a bit aggressive with George.
Well, that's what George is in the game for, to be aggressive, to make sure that Serble and Daniels and Uccello, whatever they were doing in terms of running at the defense, holding on possession, that George can disrupt that. He is there to be that midfield destroyer, to to be that pit bull in the midfield and stop Toronto's momentum, especially building the attack through the middle. That's his purpose. That's why he was brought in, and they took off an attacking player in order to do so, to try to maintain this lead.
Play back underway after the referee, Gustavo Solorio, had a brief chat with Serbal. And now it'll be Serbal for Toronto FC2, sending it up ahead for Bjornathan. And another whistle, this time a foul against Charlotte, and frustration showing from Joel Johnson.
I didn't see the foul there unless he kicked the legs or something there. I didn't see that.
Another substitution coming. Jake Arman will enter for the Charlotte Independence. So Jake Arman will take Latia Mawapi off the pitch. Mawapi had the assist on the goal for Zayed.
But it's amazing how the tide turned, how things shifted. Mawapi was dominating down the right side of Charlotte's defense, having his way with Bjornathan. Laurent Guillaume makes the substitution to put Petrasso in the game and push Bjornathan up when they have possession. And Mawape has to drop back defensively now, and they gave up a goal. It came from that left side, and now Mawape is off, and Araman is in. So how quickly a good substitution and a little tweak tactically can change the entire setup of a match. And in the case of Mawape, a player who was performing very well, see him off the match.
Toronto FC2 once again probing. Here's a turn, and unable to draw a whistle was Aiden Daniels. Now it's fought for along the touchline. Daniels will retrieve. Coming into tonight, Toronto FC2 had been outscored 10-3 in the second half cumulative this season. They do find a second half goal, and they are within one of drawing level. Will it happen here? Into the attacking third they go. A turn and a feed. Dijkstra tracks it down, and on the slide, able to bring it into his right hip.
Yeah, they better make sure that they mark Feria out wide there. Obviously, he has the goal, but he has been able to gain the possession and find himself in a little bit of space, and he's kind of been sneaking into the penalty area on a couple of occasions. They better mark him, or else they'll give up a second goal.
Arman finds Fosser. These two work in the midfield. In the 73rd minute, Charlotte trying to hang on. They had this in control, but now it's a contest. Good ball to the outside for Martinez. He tracks it down, working against Anconi. Martinez has to give it up. Now it's sent into the 6-yard box. Potential problems in the back. Able to collect himself and send it away was Uccello. That was frightening for Toronto FC2.
Yeah, you see, now Herrera becomes the target man. He is essentially that striker up top.
This is fired to the edge of the area and headed away.
Ekra is going to push up as well to add another player higher up the pitch, higher up the formation in attack. But without that target man in Zayed, it's going to be very difficult to send across to Charlotte with Herrera and now Ekra up top. They're going to have to keep the ball on the ground and work the passing and the cutting through the middle, get player movement off of the ball into space more than crosses, because we have now with Zayed off, you don't have that target in the penalty area.
Catalano decides to go short with his goal kick, and now it's played long. And there's a run for it. Dijkstra will come off his line and barely kept his feet behind the edge of the box and was able to distribute.
See, they wanted to play the ball quickly. There's George.
And a giveaway, potential danger, but it was a poor touch from Aiden Daniels. That could have been a whole lot more for Toronto FC2. Instead, on the counter comes Charlotte. Here's Arman. Arman looks. He'll chip it forward. Can Herrera get there? No, he cannot. And it'll be a throw-in deep in the attacking third for Charlotte.
Arman, if he gives up the pass a little bit sooner, Ekra had timed this run to burst in behind that back line. A good through ball would have put Ekra through. Arman held the ball too long, and then it was a poor pass to Herrera. Arman just coming into the game, so he's got to warm up a little bit, but it's a shame because it was a good opportunity there on that counterattack, or at least a chance to get in behind the defense. There was a lot of green behind that back line of Toronto.
Both teams have a substitution left to burn, and plenty of time to do it. 76th minute. Martinez turns, trying to find a way to distribute. Martinez will send it back to Foster. Part of the USL Team of the Week. Sorry, George.
No, that's okay. I was going to say Martinez. He could have cut inside, but Johnson was kind of in his way.
And we're going to have a corner. It went off of the foot of Dante Campbell. He's frustrated with himself, and here's a Chick-fil-A corner and a chance for Charlotte, who would love to create some cushion between them and Toronto FC2.
Yeah, they need a third goal here because Toronto FC2 is just playing with a lot of confidence. They found the way tactically to beat Charlotte here.
Here is the corner. It's sent towards the penalty spot, and we have a foul. It'll be called on Kevon George as he was tangled up with Julian Dunn, who's put in some hard work tonight.
Yeah, Julian Dunn was responsible, or tasked, I should say, with marking Eamon Zayed. And it was him losing track of Zayed that led to the second goal for Charlotte, but he still has had an effective game. Usually when you don't call the names of central defenders, that means they're playing pretty well.
A Toronto FC player fell down. That was Uccello, and it leads to this from Charlotte. Martinez about 40 yards away. Good ball, and it's won by Herrera. Gives it back to Martinez. Could not find Ekra, though. And now Toronto FC2 wants to get on the move. This is a nice ball to the outside. Toronto FC2 full gallop. Played forward. Aiden Daniels, the distribution. Now Toronto FC2 will look and survey. Delivered, headed away. They're able to maintain possession, however. Romeo was able to keep it in the attacking area. Aiden Daniels sends it back to Dunn. Left center back, gives it to Bornathan, the left back. Bornathan has spent a lot of time in the attacking third in this second half.
It's good patience here by Toronto. A lot of times you'll see teams, if they get down that right side, we saw Unconi, a lot of times they don't even look up. You'll see the right back or the wide player sending the service without seeing who's in the penalty area.
George is called for that foul. And Dante Campbell says, this is the second time I've been tracked down from behind. And that's a pretty easy call. And I got to think that George is going to get a warning after that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But like, as we mentioned, that's what he's there to do. He's there to disrupt the midfield. They sacrificed their number 9, their big striker, to shore up the midfield and make sure that Sai, Bolanuccello, and Daniels can't have that freedom to burst through the midfield and create goal-scoring chances. And since he's come on, those three have been pretty silent. And it has slowed down Toronto's attack a little bit.
Kevon George, the way he plays and what we've seen from him, it's no coincidence that he leads the team in yellows with 3 collected this year. But like you said, he has certainly, for now, mucked up things with Toronto FC2, had sped up the game.
And in modern football, modern soccer, look, you need goal scorers, you need the creative players, the ones that play the beautiful game. But you also need a hard man in the middle, an enforcer who will shore up the midfield and prevent the other team from creating chances through the midfield. Kevon George has solidified that midfield for Charlotte since he's come on.
Looks like Charlotte is going to use up its final substitution. It'll be Mexican midfielder Richie Perez coming on. And it looks as if Kai Foster will be coming off. So a change in the midfield for Mike Jeffries.
And Foster has been quiet in this second half. He had a lot more touches, more influence in the first half. And
it is Foster, so Perez will enter for Foster.
So you bring in some fresh legs to help Kevon George in the midfield, solidify that middle of the park, that part of the park, and then also fresh legs to push forward and attack if they get a counter-attacking opportunity, possibly get a third goal.
Now 11 minutes, that's what Toronto FC2 has to try and go level. They have not picked up a point in the table in the month of May. In what would be 4 full matches if this result stays the same. Charlotte, meanwhile, went through the entire month of April without a goal. They have scored 6 in the last 2 USL matches. They're starting to find their offense again.
Yeah, they definitely need to. You need to qualify for the playoffs. You need someone, player who can get you a lot of goals.
And the final substitution for Toronto, Noble Okello will take Matthew Serbel off. Serbel, who his heat map has to be all over the place. He has been a bulldozer. He has done everything asked of him tonight, short of scoring, and he will come off in the 81st minute.
Especially in the second half. First half he was quiet, but second half he asserted himself, was much more active in the attack.
Here's a giveaway. Toronto FC 2. Do they have some magic? Petrasso, he did well to get himself deep into the area, but his delivery failed him.
This is a brilliant run, a turnover, and this is what Toronto FC 2 can do with those young legs. He's a fresh player. That burst down that left side after the turnover. Look at him get around Javon Watson, who didn't want to give up a foul. And then the cross just lacking a little bit, but still a great run there. It would have been tough for him to connect with the 2 teammates he had in the area because Charlotte did get numbers back, but still, you gotta like the aggression going forward of Petrasso.
Watson heads it towards the midfield. Ekra is taken down, and there's a late whistle and the foul. Dante Campbell's frustration continues. Starting to get late now.
So you combine, you see Seibel coming off for Okello. It's obviously playing 80+ minutes, the fatigue slowing down, but also Kayvon George's presence has kept him out of the game. It's limited his touches, it's limited his influence in attack going forward. And so Laurent Guillaume says, all right, we'll bring in some fresh legs here to try and maybe move George a little bit and open up the middle some more.
This is played well. Here's Petrasso. Petrasso plays it to the middle. George broke that up. Petrasso got it back at the top of the box. Sent to the outside. On his right foot, playing it back. Can a cross be delivered? It can, but it's poor. This will bounce out of play, unable to be saved. Aiden Daniels could not keep that under control.
Oh, and that's unfortunate for Toronto because Okello was making a run right into the heart of the area, but out wide, it was Feria who was basically double teamed, so he couldn't get a clean pass. If he was able to get a clean pass and keep his head up, Okello was making a run, kind of a delayed run into the area, big body. You serve it up for Okello, he could elevate and finish, and then we're looking at a dramatic equalizer.
This is punched high into the air, and Charlotte will take its time throwing it in. Both teams out of substitutions now. The young fan getting a hand on the ball.
Yeah.
George. Charlotte looks to burn off the final 7 minutes. Don't think we'll have a ton of stoppage time unless something happens here in the span of the 80th to the 90th minute.
Toronto here late in the game, applying pressure and applying that high pressing. That's not something you see too often in modern soccer, modern football. 84th minute, a team pressing high. They smell an equalizer and they really want to get that ball back, and they're attacking third.
On Coney, back-to-back throw-ins. Now receives that pass. Toronto FC2 is going to have to do this out of the back. Got to be careful. That was good awareness from Okello. But then a poor pass back, and Charlotte is just handed a dangerous throw-in, and they want to rush this in.
And Charlotte putting their own pressing and pressure on that back line, leading to a turnover, so they keep the ball in their attacking half.
This is headed away, though. Ocello pushes this to the outside. It's broken up. It's been tough to get through the midfield here the last several minutes for either team. And Charlotte, once again, able to grab control. Alex Martinez working against the much larger Noble Okello. Now a battle for it. Julian Dunn trying to win it away from Herrera, and cannot. It's a throw-in for the captain of the Charlotte Independents, and now He'll let everybody slowly walk their way to the ball.
You can see there's a size difference between Herrera and Dunn, but Herrera is that clever little chihuahua just nipping on the big heels of a bigger dog, you know, and he was able to win that possession back there for Charlotte. That's experience, that's veteran leadership, that's tenacity on the part of Jorge Herrera.
Joel Johnson, bandage over his right eye, the throw to Martinez, and Bjornathan comes in, makes contact, no whistle, and a goal kick for Catalano. Does Toronto FC2 have enough to put together an attack? Oh, that was very dangerous from Catalano and got away with it and leads to this. Not sure how that happened. The 18-year-old is lucky. Bjornathan, make that Petrasso. Feeds to the left of the area. Pushing and shoving, the ball rolls out of play to Charlotte Independence.
Ooh, yes, Catalano getting away with one there. But Charlotte set it up so that Herrera and Ekra, and I believe Martinez as well, were marking the short outlets for Toronto for Catalano, so he had to play it up the middle, which was the desired effect of the positioning of the players there for Charlotte. And luckily for Toronto, didn't lead to a turnover there and a goal-scoring chance for Charlotte. But that was the intent, is to exploit the inexperience of the kid in goal, make him make the wrong pass. He made the wrong pass, but it did not lead to a chance for Charlotte. Just unlucky for the team in blue.
This has been good from Charlotte, and now a foul and a chance to eat more time off this clock. The hosts looking for 3 points in the table. They were winless in 5 straight, as Dante Campbell is shown a yellow for Toronto FC2. They were winless in 5 straight, were Charlotte, before the 4-1 win against Cincinnati. And actually, they showed the yellow to Anconi. So not Campbell, it's Brandon Anconi taking on the 3rd Toronto FC2 yellow of the evening.
Oh, yeah.
There you see, yes.
Perez with the ball, he had gotten rid of it at least a second earlier. Anconi coming over late.
And Anconi wins that ball. That was a nifty pass to the midfield. Okello. Now to Petrasso. Petrasso is fouled by Joel Johnson.
It's actually a smart foul by Johnson. Obviously, he didn't pick up the yellow. Slows the momentum of Toronto. Gave him a little shove. Burn off a little more time, and it allows the Charlotte defense to reset. So smart foul there by Joel Johnson, because it looked like Petrasso was going to get around him.
You're Toronto FC2, you might just have to start feeding it to the box, and here's a giveaway. And numbers, Armin to the middle for Ekra. What does Ekra have? He finds Herrera. Herrera looking, surveying, pushes it to Martinez. He's not going to get a shot off. Instead, he's going to play it back. Just trying to eat some time. Martinez has been close to some goal-scoring opportunities tonight, but makes the smart play here. That was swiped away by Bjornathan. Armin couldn't win possession. Can Toronto FC2 get this out of the back? No. But a foul. No, a handball. A handball against Martinez.
Yeah, I thought Martinez, when he got the service from Herrera, was just going to smack it one time and go for a 3rd goal there. He decided to hold it up, kill the clock a little bit there, taking it to the corner. I don't know if that's the best strategy, but if they wind up winning the game, it would be a strategy that was effective and that worked.
Only 2 minutes of stoppage time, so Toronto FC2 needs to do this with urgency. It's played to the midfield, where it found the chest of Aiden Daniels. There is the 2 minutes of stoppage time. Johnson able to slide and keep that from getting to Petrasso. Quick throw in. Okello to Bjornathan. Everybody's forward. Bjornathan will fire this to the far post. Oh, there was contact in the box. It was cleared away. Armin will fire it back to the midfield, and now the race is on. Romeo catches up to it, but Herrera's stolen away. Herrera's on his way to the corner. Herrera has no intention to give it up, but he does to Ekra. Ekra sends it to the top of the box, and whipping on a right-footed shot was Richie Perez. How did he not get a foot on that? But Charlotte able to maintain possession. Ekra dribbles through. Martinez He refuses to shoot, and finally, he was offside. What in the world happened there with Charlotte? Reggie Perez straight up whiffed on a ball that was sitting still. Woo, and Martinez just doesn't want to shoot.
He is going to get clowned in film study by his teammates after this match. You have to, those are the opportunities that secure victories for you, and they blew it. Perez and Martinez both times. And that all started, however, with Rocco Romeo with a poor first touch that allowed Herrera to win the possession. So, Charlotte, they might just escape with a victory here, but...
And Toronto's out of gas.
Yeah.
And you see Martinez, he's keeled over on the near side. He's out of gas as well.
He's run a lot, especially these last 15 minutes.
Probably would feel a lot better if he would have gotten the shot off in any of the last two opportunities he had. He was point blank both times. It appears as if Charlotte is going to hang on. Toronto FC 2 was game, but Charlotte Independence comes out with the 3 points. So Toronto FC 2, they battled hard in the second half. They were able to pick up a goal and make it interesting, but still winless on the season. Herrera in the first half. Zayed in the second half. In the final, Charlotte Independence 2, Toronto FC 2, 1. You're watching the USL. Post-game to come.
I don't have my wallet, so.
Perfect. You can send a digital payment.
I don't have one of those payment apps.
Perfect. You have a US-based bank account, right?
I have Wells Fargo.
Perfect. Then you should have Zelle.
Perfect.
Perfect.
The #1 mobile banking app just got better.
Does your coach use Zelle too?
Of course.
Another way we're building better every day.
Charlotte Independence, they pick up the victory tonight, a second straight win, a 2-1 triumph over Toronto FC 2. Along with George Metellus, I'm Ken Levica. Let's take a glance at highlights from tonight's match. And this one got very, very interesting. Very early on, Herrera on this free kick and almost in trouble.
Yeah, it looked like Gianluca Catalano bobbles it a little bit. Remember, this free kick came because Catalano comes out of the box and fouls a Charlotte player, which led to this free kick opportunity. Catalano picking up a yellow there, but he was able to make the save. And then a mistake in the back, Toronto giving the ball away. And Eamon Zayed, his shot takes a deflection. Catalano's late to react, fouls Herrera, and there is the PK spot shot. But Toronto losing the ball deep in their attacking, or in their defensive third, and that is what ultimately led to this penalty. And Herrera beating Catalano to the ball. And the youngster he had a rough first 15, 20 minutes of this match.
And there is goal number 5 on the season for Jorge Herrera, putting him tied for the top of the Eastern Conference in goal scorers, and it was 1-0, and then nearly a second.
This is, Catalano makes up for the mistake that led to the penalty by denying Zayed. It was a great through ball by Martinez. And then, look at, he lets the ball roll and then places it. Maybe the pass is a little heavy. You can't really criticize Martinez too much for that, but it was a good opportunity, a great save by Catalano. It was 1-0 at halftime in favor of Charlotte.
And then right out of the locker room, Milwaukee, look at this ball and this finish.
I thought at first this was actually going to be a squaring header that Herrera would touch in, but Herrera saw that the ball was going in, and it was a great finish by Eamon Zayed. Turned out to be the game winner, but Milwaukee at that point had been dominating the right side of the attack.
Finally, Toronto FC 2 able to find the back of the net.
Yeah, the 2 substitutions made with Petrasso and Feria coming through here to create this goal. Petrasso was the one driving into the area, leaving it for Bjornathan, and then Feria getting inside of Samuel Vines for the lone goal for Toronto. But the second half, Toronto were the better side.
So let's go through the match stats. Toronto FC2 was unable to find the equalizer. Charlotte Independence with the victory. Both teams with 8 shots, 6-2 shots on target in favor of Charlotte. Possession certainly evened up a bit in the second half, 60-40 advantage for Charlotte. 4 offsides for Charlotte. They were certainly on the run an awful lot here tonight, but the stats look like we expected them to look.
Yeah, absolutely. Charlotte was going to be the team with more possession, and because of Herrera and Zayed and players like Mawape, they were going to get more shots on target. They deserved to win this match, even though Toronto outplayed them in the second half. Charlotte were the deserved winners.
Your Wells Fargo Eastern Conference standings. FC Cincinnati with a victory. They are all alone atop the table. 1 point advantage over Louisville City, the defending champions. You see Charlotte Independence. They are right in the thick, the meat of this Eastern Conference playoff race. Still only 2 points in the table for Toronto FC2.
Charlotte Independence is a very dangerous team with Zayed and Herrera as well.
Wells Fargo save of the match. Dykstra taking it right off the chest, but denying a goal.
That is a 3-point save. It's a save that preserves the victory for Charlotte. Dykstra sacrificing his face. And this was Seibel with a great through ball to Akinola, and Dykstra coming up with a huge save.
And there you have a look at our man who pulled off the Wells Fargo save of the match. The next game for Charlotte Independence, it'll be at Richmond. That's coming up next Saturday, 7 o'clock. Charlotte looking for a 3rd straight victory as they go on the road to start a 4-game road trip. So for George Metellus, I'm Ken Levick. I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. Charlotte Independence picks up the victory 2-1 over Toronto FC2. Have a great rest of the weekend. This has been the USL.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.